it's Sarah, and today is Booklist Thursday. So this is a video series that I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library, and every Thursday we bring you some sort of list for a prompt that we come up with. And this week we are going back to the first 5 books on our channel. And we're going to do this for the first Thursday of every month up until the end of the year. And so this week we're going to talk about the first 5 books that we talked about on our channel that are thrillers, because we both love thrillers. That's one of our genres, and thrillers are really big right now in everyone's reading because it is October, so everyone's trying to get into the spooky mood. So these are the first 5 thrillers that I talked about on this channel. All right, so the first one that I talked about was The Psalm Killer by Chris Pettit. I don't know if that's how you say his last name or not. And this one I picked up at a library sale. I had it in a book haul, I think one of my first book hauls on this channel. And I've actually unhauled this and I'd never read it. It was just one of those books that I picked it up. I had never heard of it before. It sounded kind of interesting. I held on to it for a long time and just never picked it up. So I went ahead and unhauled that actually over the summer. The second one that I had in the same video, actually, it was another one that I picked up at a library book sale, and that is London Bridges by James Patterson. This is part of his Alex Cross series, which I am reading. However, I am listening to them and I'm not collecting them physically because it is a very, very big series. There are a lot of books in this one, and I don't know what number this is in the series. It wasn't anywhere near where I was ready to pick it up and read it soon, and I think it was a mass market paperback, so I passed it on to a friend. The third one that I talked about is Pines by Blake Crouch, and this is the first book in his Wayward Pines trilogy. There are 3 books in this series, and I loved that trilogy. It was kind of a science fiction horror type of series, and it follows a man who's a detective, and his partner goes missing in a random town, and he knew where she was supposed to be, and he travels to that town with another person to try to find her and bring her back because they don't know why she completely disappeared. And he finds out that it's because of the town, and the town is called Wayward Pines, and there's something really weird going on there, and yeah, a whole bunch of stuff happens, and it's crazy and it's thrilling, and it was scary at times, and it shocked me, and I really, really, really loved it. So the entire trilogy was a 5-star trilogy for me. I flew through it really quickly. The next one that I talked about is You by Caroline Kepnes. This is one of my all-time favorite books. It's definitely in my top 10, and this one is being talked about a lot right now too because the TV show that is the adaptation for this just started, and the TV show so far has been amazing. I've loved every episode that's been on so far. It's fantastic. And this one follows a man named Joe Goldberg. He works in a bookstore, so he's a big book lover, and you know, he takes really good care of the books. He has a customer one day named Beck who comes in, and she asks him for some help on finding something. He helps her, he checks her out, and then he quickly becomes obsessed with her, and he begins stalking her and inserting himself into her life. And you see this happen through his perspective. You are inside Joe's head. Now, that was really creepy because I really found myself rationalizing everything he was doing as he was stalking this woman. He's stalking her, like there's no doubt about it. He is stalking her. And you see him rationalizing it. You see him, you know, talking about why he's doing it, and these are the reasons, and he's talking like he's talking to Beck. His narrative is kind of, I'm talking to you, Beck, and he says you a lot, which is why that's the name of this novel. So sometimes I felt like he was talking to me, and it creeped me out quite a bit. And yeah, oh, it was so good. This book shocked me, and it made me feel things I should not be feeling for a very crazy person. Like this stuff is not okay, and I know that. I know that in my rational mind, but in my mind reading this, like everything was fine. It was totally normal. It was so brilliant. It was really well done. I absolutely loved it. Again, one of my top 10 favorite books of all time, and the show is fantastic. I actually want to reread this after the show is done so I can do a better comparison of the two, because it's been a couple of years since I've read this, and I would like to reread it after the show is done so I can really do a good comparison, and I plan to do a video on that. And then this time around I'll probably listen to it because I've heard the audiobook is fantastic, and since it's a reread, I think I'll probably do that after the show is done. But loved it. Like, just, it's so good. I recommend it to everybody all the time. And the fifth thriller that I talked about on my channel is American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. And oh my gosh, okay. I actually read this in 2015 when I started, that's the year I started my channel. And I read it in October of 2015. So 3 years ago, I read this. And I still think about this book. This book messed me up. It messed me up, man. Oh my gosh, I've never read anything like this. It was so disturbing. This is the most disturbing book I've ever read. But it was brilliant. And it was so well done. And it just, I remember reading it and just my mouth was hanging open. At one point I put it down on the end of my bed and I pushed it away with my toe and I had to step away because of something that happened. I was just like, I'm gonna need a day. I need a day away from this right now. But then I picked it back up and I kept going, and it was just so disturbing. But it was, I don't know, it's so hard to describe. I can't even put it into words, but it was amazing as well. So I gave it 5 stars. It's just, okay. If you can handle brutal things and you haven't read this, do it. But it's very, also the most graphic book I've ever read. So I'm gonna put that out there too. But, oh my gosh, it's hard to find the words. Okay guys, that is it. Those are the first 5 thrillers that I talked about on my channel when I first started it. And make sure you go check out Lindsay's channel and look at the first 5 thrillers that she talked about on her channel as well. I'm excited to see what those were and what her status is on those. And we will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.